Hi guys, so today I'm going to tell you what books I read in 2024. Hopefully the camera angle is good. I can never tell because I use a very tiny mirror, this one, to see myself. So yeah, I'll have to have my glasses on, so sorry about any glare because I won't be able to see otherwise. But yeah, and I'll be looking at my laptop because I'm looking at Goodreads, which is where I keep track of what I read. So I read 23 books last year. So Goodreads has like a goal you can set for yourself, like how many books you want to read. They're not sponsoring me or anything. It'd be cool though. So, but I gave myself a goal last year to read 15 books. This year I'm giving myself a goal to read 25 books. So hopefully I'll reach it. So I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Oh, I see my double chin. I'm not a fan of that. Okay. Anyways, so it's not going to be in order. So there's going to be a lot of John Saul because I love John Saul, like I've said. So the first one I read, well, not first one, but the first, never mind. Like I said, it's not in the order that I actually read it, but Darkness by John Saul. Some of these books I do own, but I didn't feel like getting them out just because I was lazy. But I will read the summary on Goodreads if you're wondering what it's about. So I'm not good at explaining things, and some of these books I read at the beginning of the year, so I don't remember. And like I said, I read a lot of John Saul books, so they all kind of blend together. Okay, so it's about a town in Florida that I cannot pronounce. A secluded little town at the edge of a vast, eerie swamp, far from prying eyes, far from the laws of civilization. Here folks live by their own rules, dark rites of altars and infants, candles and blood. Years ago, the Andersons left town with a dream. Now they are back to live out a nightmare. Something has been waiting for them, something unspeakably evil. It feeds on the young and the innocent, and soon it will draw their teenage daughter into its unholy embrace. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. So the next one, I don't know. I keep saying next and first, but like I said, they're not in order. I suppose the next one I'll talk about is The Unloved, also by John Saul. Yeah, I can't really remember what this one is about either, so I'll just read the summary. The ones that I don't really know what it's, or can't remember what it's about, I'll read the summary for. So, okay. Lush, a deceptively tranquil, the secluded island basks in splendid isolation off the South Carolina coast, as does the Devereaux Mansion, a once great plantation house now crumbling amidst the ancient oaks. Now, for the first time in 2 decades, Kevin Devereaux has returned here with his wife and children to visit Kevin's hated and frightening mother. She said she was ill, but is that really why the old woman has summoned the son she has not seen in so many years? Suddenly, horribly, one of the Devereaux is going to die. Now all the dark secrets of this once proud family will emerge to wrap their evil around the unsuspecting children, until, in the shadowed corridors and dust-covered rooms of the decaying old house, they learn the true terror of the unloved. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Okay, and then Into the Wild is the next book I will be talking about, by John, I can't pronounce his last name, but it's Krakauer. So this is a nonfiction book. It's about a man. What is his name? About Chris McCandless. What's the word for it? He traveled a lot. trying to think of the right word for it. I don't know. He traveled a lot. He didn't really live anywhere. He just went around wherever he wanted to. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard this story. Maybe you recognize the name. I'm sure you've read the book or seen the movie. I haven't seen the movie. I want to, though. I think I own it. But yeah, and then he went to Alaska and his body was found. So yeah, but the book was all right. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I don't remember why. Maybe just because the story? It was written well. I thought, I don't know why. I read it earlier in the year, so I don't really remember too much of it. Okay, some of the books I read were children's books. So I read Arthur's Family Vacation by Mark Brown. That was nostalgic for me. That's the only reason I read it, because it was nostalgic. The other children's books I read were No More Pencils, No More Books, No More Teachers' Dirty Looks. I read that when I was in elementary school, and it's by Diane DeGroat. I gave that 5 out of 5 stars. What did I give Arthur? Also 5 out of 5 stars. And I also read Dear Zoo by Rod Campbell. Again, nostalgic. I gave that 5 out of 5 stars. I think I have all of them in physical copies because I'm like, it's cool for me to have those books again. Plus, when I have kids, I can read them those books. Okay. Next one I'll talk about is called When He Has Wings by Janet Lee Carey. That was another nostalgic book for me because we read it in 4th grade. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, but it's about this kid that loses his sister in a car accident. Well, a truck hits both of them. He survives, his sister doesn't. It's just about the grieving process for him and his family. Okay. So this next one is technically like 6 books in one. It's The Blackstone Chronicles by John Saul. So it's really cool because like the 6 books are like different stories, but they're all connected. Yeah, because there's this like old asylum and this figure, if you want to call it, or ghost, or whatever, gives people different objects, and the objects cause them trouble and all that. So it's cool. Because like I said, the books are different. They deal with different things, but it's all connected. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. This one I never heard of before. It was just recommended on Hoopla, I believe. It's called I Found Puppets Living in My Apartment Walls by Ben Farthing. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was a cool idea because like it was obviously a ripoff of Sesame Street. I can't remember what he called it. But he wakes up in this Muppet, like walking around on its own, goes into somewhere in the wall, so he follows it, finds other Muppets, and yeah, it's a scary story. I mean, I'm not saying it like it scared me, but it's under the horror genre. I thought it was a pretty neat idea. Creative. Okay. And then it's kind of before my time, but I'm not sure if any of you guys remember The Babysitter's Club. I'd never read any of the books before, but I think this is just like one of those things where it was suggested maybe on Hoopla or something. It's called Claudia and the Terrible Truth by Anne M. Martin. It's about this girl that babysits 2 boys that are being abused by their father. So yeah, I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Okay. Whoops. Did not mean to save that. All right. And then The Presence by John Saul. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Let's see. The summary is kind of long, the one that they have. I'm trying to think if I can just summarize it in my own words. Yeah, this like teenage boy and his mother go to Hawaii because I think the mom is like an anthropologist. And she finds skeletal remains which seem impossible because they belong to people that shouldn't have even been on the island at the time, or like how old the skeleton is. And yeah, I can't remember exactly what else happens in the book without spoiling it, but just know that that's basically it. She finds skeletal remains that are older than they should be because humans apparently hadn't been on the island for that long or whatever. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Okay, and then I read, well, again, I keep making it in like a sequential thing, but it's not. Shadows by John Saul. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. Okay, this is the summary on Goodreads. They call it the Academy, a secluded clifftop mansion overlooking the rugged Pacific coast. A school for children, gifted or cursed, with extraordinary minds. Children soon to come under the influence of an intelligence even more brilliant than their own, and unspeakably evil. For within this mind, a dark plan is taking form. A plan so horrifying no one will believe it. No one but the children, and for them, it is already too late. Too late unless one young student can resist the seductive invitation that will lead into the shadows. If I didn't say already, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I do remember it. I can't say why without spoiling it, but it was like super creepy. I liked it. I love John Saul because his books. Can I say something maybe controversial? I don't like Stephen King books at all. They're not creepy, in my opinion, or even scary. They're long-winded. Like, you get halfway through the book and still nothing's happened. He's overrated, in my opinion. But, yeah. Okay. What's this one? Black Lightning by Stephen King. Okay, yeah, I can read the summary. I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. For 5 years, Seattle journalist Ann Jeffers has pursued the horrifying story of a sadistic serial killer's bloody reign, capture, trial, and appeal, crusading to keep the wheels of justice churning toward the electric chair. Now the day of the execution has come. A convicted killer will meet his end. Anne believes her long nightmare is over, but she's dead wrong. Within days, a similar murder stuns the city as the butcher stalks his next victims, creeping even closer to her. Anne is seized by an icy unease, a haunting sense of connection to these unspeakable crimes, and relentlessly she hears the eerie echo of the dead man's last words to her. Today won't end it. How will you feel, Anne, when I'm dead and it all starts again? How will you feel? All right. Another John Saul book, how surprising. It's called The Unwanted. I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. Sorry about my hair. Just a little short hairs, you know. Okay. Cassie Winslow is 16. She has just lost her mother in a terrible accident. Now lonely and frightened, she has come to live with her father, she barely knows, and his new family in tiny Falls Harbor on Cape Cod. For Cassie, the strange, unsettling dreams that come to her suddenly in the dead of night are merely the beginning. Very soon, Cassie Winslow will come to know the terrifying powers that are her gift. And in the village of Falls Harbor, nothing will ever be the same. All right. I was going to say something. I can't remember what I was going to say, though. Maybe it'll come to me. Whoops. All right. The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien. So this is about his experience in the Vietnam War, right? I'm going to look it up because I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to sound stupid. But it's really good. Again, nonfiction book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars because it was just so... And obviously war is horrible, and you can imagine what people go through in war, you know? But... Sorry, I'm dumb. Yes, the Vietnam War. Had to look that up. But how he says it or describes it, it's just horrifying. Like, for example, he's like, he'd be talking to someone 1 minute, and then the next minute they're blown up. And I'm like, wow, that must have been horrible. I can't imagine, you know? Horrible, but it's a great book. I recommend it. All right. Sorry, trying to do it. Freaking. All right. In the Dark, Dark Room and Other Scary Stories by Alvin Schwartz. This is like a kid's book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It's just a collection of scary stories. Okay. Whatever. The Homing by John Saul. I didn't rate this one, I don't think. Unless... Yes, I did. I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. Okay. I noticed a lot with John Saul books that they take place in like New England area, even though he grew up in California. Thought that was interesting. All right, so the summary is a young widow, Karen Spellman, and her 2 daughters are leaving Los Angeles to return to the lush countryside of Karen's childhood, where she plans to marry her high school sweetheart, but something sinister awaits the Spellmans. For here, long ago, a shadowy menace once stalked the innocent, there. Dormant, it waits for summer's heat to shimmer over the valley in a suffocating wave, waits for the arrival of its perfect victim. And now, with the dizzying descent of a nightmare, Karen's homecoming will become a confrontation with evil as she struggles to protect her vulnerable daughters from a menace that seems to rise from hell itself, a malign, preternatural, I think that's how you say it, force that must satisfy its gruesome thirst for its unsuspecting prey. Okay. Then... A Mother's Reckoning, Living in the Aftermath of Tragedy by Sue Klebold. If you don't know who she is Dylan Klebold's mother, and he was one of the Columbine shooters. This book was basically just how she's reacted to it, things like that. You know, like what happened for her the day of the tragedy, things like that. Yeah, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was interesting to read her perspective of it. Okay. Then we have the Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. Yeah, I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. It's just about a guy that wakes up as a gigantic insect, and he's treated as like an outcast from then on. And that's really all I can say without spoiling it if you haven't read it. Okay. And I read Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I'm sure everyone knows that story. It's by Robert Louis Stevenson. Yeah. All right, and then The God Project by John Saul. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Okay, here's the summary. Something is happening to the children of Eastbury, Massachusetts. Something that causes healthy babies to turn cold in their cribs. Something that strikes the heart of every parent's darkest fears. Something is taking the children one by one. Now an entire town waits on the edge of panic for the next nightmare. There must be a reason for the terror. They all know it, but no one ever suspected. All right. This one is called The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. This was written in the 1800s, when this was probably more prevalent, but it's this woman. She's recently given birth, and her doctor husband is like, stay in this room, rest, you know, so she kind of, I guess, loses her mind in there, goes stir crazy, and she's like obsessed with the yellow wallpaper in it. It's a pretty short book. I would recommend it. It didn't take me very long to read, but it's interesting. I thought it was pretty good. All right, sorry about the pauses. I'm just trying to get to the next book. Okay, Nightshade by John Saul. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. Let's see. This has a super long summary, so I'm trying to speed read through it and tell you. Oh yeah, this woman, her mom moves in with her and her husband and her son. Her mom has dementia, and her sister died years ago. The mom doesn't like Joan, which is her name, and Cynthia, who was the sister that died years ago, she liked her more. She's like always comparing her to Cynthia, and then well, what I was gonna say was a spoiler, so she just kind of loses her mind. Joan does. All right, and then the last book. Wait, was that it? I think that was it. Yeah. I'm gonna add in one more because I started it in 2024, very end of December. And it is called Hellfire. I just finished it yesterday. Let's see, let me go to it. Sorry, you guys. Gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Okay, I'll read the summary from Goodreads. The old mill has been silent for 100 years, its dread secrets locked from view. Still, the people of Westover, Massachusetts remember and whisper of that terrible day when horrifying flames claimed 11 innocent young lives. The day the mill's door slammed shut forever. But now the last of the once powerful Sturgis family is about to unlock those doors again and unleash an elemental fury. For behind the padlocks, deep within the dark abandoned building, a terrible vengeance awaits. A vengeance conceived in hellfire. I think I said I gave that 4 out of 5 stars. Yeah. I think I only have 3 John Saul books left to read. I read almost all of his books, and that makes me sad because I'm almost done, and then what am I going to do? But it's funny because I'm reading that book, and I've never heard of the term, like, what is it, like, the rabbit's dead or something? Let's see. what is it? Or the rabbit died, which means that you're pregnant, or just a way of saying that you're pregnant. I'd never heard that before. I've heard of like other euphemisms, like if you say someone's in trouble, you know, that can mean that they're pregnant. I'd never heard that before. So I looked it up and it's pretty messed up, the backstory. And it also doesn't make sense because with that type of pregnancy test, the rabbit dies regardless. But anyways, so it's kind of weird. I'd never heard that before. So I'm sure this video is long, so I won't make it any longer. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.